Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Naked Truth Podcast.
Take your mate back?
10 years ago, Big Sean and Kendrick Lamar are on this record called Control. In that record, Kendrick name dropped everybody and said, I'm coming for the crown. I want to murder y'all. If you ain't me, you ain't shit, pretty much. Right? J. Cole took the damn, that was a hard ass verse. Everybody coming at me like, what am I say type of approach. And Drake took the I'm bigger than you and like have more commercial success than you approach. Since then, it's been 10 years of just subliminals, right? Leading up to First Person Shooter, which was on Drake's last album, which was featuring Drake and J. Cole. J. Cole's on the record giving props to all three of them, but Drake is kind of excluding Kendrick, right? So then Metro Boomin and Future's album drops, and Kendrick says, fuck all this subliminal shit. Fuck you both. I'm number one. But the way it was done is all these other people are kind of like behind Metro and everybody else, also saying fuck Drake in their own way. So some people have unfollowed him, some people have dropped other diss tracks, this, that, and the third. So pretty much Drake is like Thanos, and everybody else is just pick a character on the Avengers. But Kendrick is Iron Man. Kendrick's leading the way. Kendrick's leading the charge. But they've had their back and forth, and really, because J. Cole did what he did, it's kind of taken the steam out of it. Because yes, people are gonna settle with Drake and Kendrick going back and forth because it's been 10 years of them going back and forth. But realistically, the whole conversation was around big three, big three, big three, big three, big three. So now that J. Cole's backed out, it's kind of just like, it kind of lost its steam. It's not like a beef, you know what I'm saying? But it had all the makings of a heavyweight fight that was fixed.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a difference with the different generations because back in our day, again, like I said before, and I'll say again, you don't talk shit unless you're ready to back shit up. We didn't do no Twitter fingers, no Facebook thugs. It was you dropped a record, and if you want to say something, meet me at the studio or meet me outside, whatever, because it was about that. How many other beefs we've been talking about? Let's see. I said the ultimate. There's nothing much bigger than Jay-Z and Nas, with Ether and all that. But even with the females, like we had the females going at each other. Kim and Foxy, that was a big thing. Even I would say even up to this day, like what's her name? Remy. Who was Remy beefing with the other day? Well, not the other day, but what was her last beef?
Nicki Minaj.
Nikki.
Was it with Nikki? Yeah, like that kind of seemed like a legitimate beef. So that's why I'm like, what is exactly this beef now with J. Cole, Drake, and like what are they even talking about? Like how many women they got? Like what is this all about? Is this really about credibility on who's the better rapper? Because even that, I mean, are we talking about lyrical or are we talking about commercial success? Because commercial success didn't mean anything back in the day. It was either you had the talent or you did it. Like either you drop a nice diss record and they didn't care if it was David going against Goliath. It was you talk your shit or be talked about.
Well, I think that's the difference. Like our generation hasn't had to care
Well,
so long.
you built your care based on how people react, and so now you got real confirmation or validation about whether or not something is valid. Because back then it was really if it got radio play or if you got your record sales, that was it.
Yeah,
But now it's
but like,
subjective.
but like in music today, the problem is one. I'm not gonna say oversaturation because I really don't think that there's oversaturation. I think that there's just access for every genre to be available right here, right now, and even across all aspects and spaces where music can possibly exist at the same exact time. And yes, all genres always existed, but like if I wanted to go find the best rap album, I had to go where rap was and then enjoy it. Whereas now it's like the work on the audience's side of things is not hard anymore. So
But
therefore,
is it easier to build a fan base in the traditional way, or is it easier now with the access so wide open?
I
I
think
think
it
it's easier. I think it's easier now because in this day and age, Eddie Lee's generation bases success off of your streaming numbers, your fan base, all of these things. Whereas back in our day, a lot of the best records were records that never charted. They were records that never did big numbers, but they were records that meant something to the culture or to the street.
but
And
that's
it
what
was more about a person's lyrical content
mhm.
versus a person having 3 million streams.
But here's this. So what happened in our time was that there was a gatekeeper. The DJs didn't play your record if they felt like you ain't shit. And so now somebody can just go viral just because of curiosity. Have you heard that new Eddie Lee? Nobody knows whether or not you're good or not, but they're gonna click on it, and just that one click alone can then become all these millions of streams plus. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's not really organic. It could just be off of just curiosity and viral, awareness.
What our generation is trying to figure out now is where does longevity come about? Because after your viral moment, after your well, I can't even say 5 minutes of fame now. It's more
I
like
was just say
seconds.
15 seconds of fame
After
because
your
y'all
15
got like
seconds of fame, you
real
know what I'm saying?
wave.
It's like okay, the idea of coming and going is really what you're fighting against now. And like yes, you could say people came and went in the past generations, but the people who came and made an impact, even if it wasn't huge, it just meant something to the culture. As Antoine said, it's like you are enough to stay here. You are enough to continue to have a career. You are enough to continue to perform and move around this music because we appreciate what you did for music at your time. For us, it's like because things come so fast and things are also replaced so fast, the idea of longevity is not what we look at. So therefore, you have to look at did this really work in this snapshot second, or and if it didn't, then it flops. Which is not true because realistically, especially on like the independent artist scene, what you realize is like okay, in order to build a name or a following or grasp people's attention. There has to be a little bit more to you than just being nice on a record, which is probably always how it was, but like it's just more in our face because now you're also fighting the social media aspect. So now it's not just your personality as a whole, but it's well, how does your personality translate to the pictures you take, the reels you post, just all this shit that realistically doesn't matter because when you break it down to its simplest form, the people who are winning are winning the same way people have always won, which is hand to hand. If people can come see you, if people want to be around you, if people can appreciate what you're doing for the culture, even though our culture is different, then you're that's what's really winning now. And I think our generation is in that shift of yeah, we got caught up in the hype and the social media and the numbers and everything else like that, but then when you look left and right at something tangible, we don't have that. So now it's like okay, the people who do have it are the ones starting to win now because you were able to pass through the firestorm and the smoke and mirrors that was all the social media stuff, and now you're at the point where people are looking left and right and saying well yeah, this person's a bigger artist, quote unquote, has more streaming and stuff, but this person can actually bring people out to their shows, so which one am I going to pick?
And see, I think for me, like, I think about the transition or the introduction rather, of streaming and everything,
Hmm.
where like we used to have people like let's just pull out the popular people like Bow Wow or Soldier Boy, right? Where they were just at that beginning phase, but they were still selling units and they were touring.
Mhm.
And so now I'm like, I wouldn't be able to tell you like who is current or whatever because it's like every week we got a different new artist.
Mhm.
Like I think now NLE is it NLE Choppa? Is that his name? So now he's famous off of something controversial, but if it wasn't for that controversial thing, his song about loving himself, which is questionable to be homophobic or whatever it is that they're saying, like I wouldn't know who he is.
But he been out
Well, he
though.
was actually big before.
That's
Yeah.
what, I didn't know. I didn't know who he
Oh,
was. And maybe I'm old, but like that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh,
huh?
you're old.
Antoine, listen. What
I knew who NLE
who
Chopper was
is
before that whole
what
situation.
song did he sing before that?
He had a whole album, and his
My
his
song.
his first big song was "Slut Me Out."
So this is
No,
Let Me
no,
Out
this
too.
is "Slut Me
This
Out"
is "Slut
too.
Me Out"
But
too.
that wasn't his first big song. His first big song was Chopper Freestyle. I don't understand why people are mad because he was just praising a community that's praising his music. But it's like it's weird. It's like we're in this weird thing where it's like as accepting as we're supposed to be of people, their choices, their
Who said
sexuality,
we
so on and so
accepted?
forth. Huh?
Who said we accepted? Which audience you talking about?
Our generation. I don't know about y'all. Y'all niggas is y'all niggas is but
I was about
our
to say
generation
our
is fucked.
generation is still influencing y'all. So that's what I'm saying. Like, which demographic are you talking about? Because there's still a lot of young people like y'all
Yeah,
who are looking up to people like us who are still talking that yin yang.
yeah, but that's our problem too because y'all are still our heroes. So it's
Right,
like the hardest part about that is not wanting to let your heroes down, but also understanding that some of the things that our generation is trying to change is in direct conflict with our heroes. And
right.
I think now we're in this weird stage where okay, maybe Gen Z and down is a little bit more fluid in terms of whichever letter they pick to
Yeah.
identify with.
Hmm.
But but at the same time, there's also still the generation, like the kind of cutoff point for the millennials and the people who started Gen Z, who still look at their idols like, "Yo, we ain't fucking with that gay shit," right? And then it's like that'll be the clash. So like here goes Annalie Chopper, who, as far as I can assume, is a straight man. He is saying thank you to this community who's supporting my song, and yet other straight people are saying, "Well, why are you saying thank you to them? That's gay."
But I thought it wasn't even that was his initial intention, which was to be supportive. It was, hey, because of this backlash, I hope y'all know I'm still cool with them too.
But
If you're gonna accuse me, like I'm not them, but
yeah,
I'm cool with them
yeah,
because he said it was all self love to me
yeah.
initially.
But I think that's the problem. Like me personally, I feel like the only way our generation gets to a point where we can really stand on anything is if we just pick a side and pick somebody to represent that side and then move the fuck on. But the problem is nobody has actually been able to say this is where I'm at with it and be cool with it and just say and take whatever flack that comes with it because they're like, oh well, a level there's like the political correct conversation. There's the traditional patriarchy conversation. There's the women are in the room now and you have to give credence to that conversation, so on and so forth. And it's all these fucking everybody talking, but nobody has just stood on it and said, okay, bro, we let all these people in the room. What are the principles we're moving forward with? Pick them and then move the fuck forward. But it's just like everybody, we let everybody in the room, which everybody should be in the room. But now that we in the room, what we gonna get out of this? And
But there's enough
as a
space
man,
in the room, though. That's the thing. Like everybody can fit under the same roof. And to me, I thought Lil Nas X would have been that
hell no,
tipping point.
hell
I
no,
mean, he's commercial.
hell
He
no.
can rap. You
It's
don't think he go, you don't think so?
little Nas X was not going to, because he went for the shock value of it all.
Hmm.
it was very hard for people to then sit down and take him seriously. And I
But he
think
wasn't like that initially, though.
what,
But he saw that it was triggering people, and then he started pushing the button.
but from that
I think he
standpoint,
became too gimmicky.
that's what I'm
It
saying.
was too deep.
But that's what I'm saying. So the gimmicks is now I can't take you serious. Feel me? If you're supposed to like, okay, Obama can crack jokes now, but that's because he's a former president. Feel me? So we now that we see him with his guard down and everything else like that, it's because we had to take you seriously first. But we were never in a position to really take Lil Nas seriously because right after Rodeo, the gimmick started. And granted,
That's
he
because they were talking about him, though.
yeah, but it's like establish yourself first. Like if Lil Nas, because the music is not never in question, bro is a fantastic artist. So you're able to stand on great music. You were able to follow up with another hit. Like you from a music perspective, you've checked two of the biggest things. Music is consistently good, and I can give you a consistent hit. You've solidified yourself there. But now when you're talking about being in the public sector and the public sphere and wanting to be respected for what you have to say, well, perception is a little fickle because hey, there's multiple generations outside of the generation that you represent. So like what I can get away with with my peers may not necessarily rock with y'all, may not necessarily rock with my parents, damn sure ain't gonna rock with my grandparents, and may not necessarily even be understood by the generation after me for real. So within that, you have to find what is the line I can walk. But for him, if you're kind of coming out and saying, "And fuck religion," well, that's one of the hot button topics that they tell you never to talk about, and you did it, and that's fine.
But
Now you're a
but he's not
gatekeeper.
the first artist to do that, though.
Fuck no,
Because
he's not.
let's
Fuck no, he's not.
look at Prince. Look at a lot of other people that came before him that said f whatever
For
box
sure,
that you want to put me in.
for sure. Forget the box, but it's not the box that we're talking about. It's okay. Are we gonna give you the space to now have that level of influence? And the masses said, "Nah."
Right, because we were gatekeeping. Because we could have just said, "Oh, he's just being expressive as an artist."
Yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
nobody's denying the expression as an artist. People like I feel like the conversation switches between like artist to me. I'm relating to the music. Artist that I'm relaying to like a James Baldwin being able to hold conversation with the Malcolm X. Like who who in today's time is gonna say, "Yo, bring me Little Nas X to speak on some shit"? No, not because he couldn't, but because he went with the gimmicks first. So now we have no reason to take you seriously. That that
I
that
don't know.
that that's when the breakdown comes.
I feel like he was able to monopolize on what was triggering the people,
Mhm.
and the that he had a fan base based on rejecting what is societal's norm. And I still feel like, at least on the pop side, he may not necessarily ever get the respect that he probably deserves on the rap side.
Mhm.
But for the pop version, I mean, there's tons of people who have done exactly what he's done. He just happens to be a black gay guy, because you just never saw a black gay guy. You saw Madonna kissing women.
Mhm.
Nobody made it a big deal.
Shout out to
You know what I
Madonna.
mean? And I'm just saying, like, there's all these people that did all these things that were anti-Christ and stuff like that, and they were able to survive it
Yeah,
because they were not black, and they were not black male, and they were not black gay male. All three,
yeah,
But
like,
yeah.
I don't think that's why he's not. So I agree. He pushed the envelope when it came to societal's norms, and what made people talk about him was the fact that he was a black gay male, right? That worked for him because it it was the first time we saw a black gay male really reach the magnitude of success that he reached. And even though it was a little gimmicky, it still came off as him being authentic.
Mhm.
I think the issue now is he comes off as hypocritical because it's like you first came out and it's like fuck religion, I'm this gay dude, I'm this gay black man, and I'm going to be gay, I'm going to kiss men, I'm going to show my body, I'm going to do all these things. And now I was like, and even though I know most of the time he's trolling, but now it's like, oh, I'm going to a Christian school, oh, I'm going to get a Christian degree, oh, I'm finding
That's all
Christ,
part of the trolling.
in your music. You say he wasn't trolling?
That's all part of the trolling now. He's just taking trolling to another level.
Yeah, but I think it makes him look very
Childish.
Childish.
And that's
He is.
childish,
but
hypocritical,
that's what I'm
like
saying.
all of those things. Like I think if he had just stuck to the formula that he had when he first came out, that would have worked for him.
But what I'm saying now is because he looks childish, right? If you're talking about a community that is going to put you up as one of those pillars, well, I can't give this to somebody who's not going to be serious about it when it comes time. Not that you
Right.
can't, you can have all the gimmicks in the world, but when we know that you're going to cut it off here and when it's time to stand on some shit, you're going to stand on it, we can't trust him with that. So as much as he's winning in pop and winning in music and just winning in general, like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Bro's doing his thing, but
But do we give him the chance to be mature though? Because I think a lot of time,
if we having that real conversation, he was never gonna have that chance because of him coming out.
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, so he didn't feel like it was a lose-lose situation either. You're not going to consider me a credible source because I'm black and gay, and then now because I'm doing all these antics, then I really lost my CC. He's like, well,
Yeah.
shit, I'm fucked either way, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, and remember, this guy didn't come out when he was 18. Like he was
Yeah,
very
for sure.
young.
Mhm.
Like how much expectations are we putting on somebody that young to be a responsible voice in a
A
room?
whole lot.
But it's
A whole lot.
it's the same thing with Sexy Red though. Like
Oh, let's touch that one.
her getting mad because the school didn't want her to speak to the kids. What did you think? Why did you think a school would want you to speak to kids? Like what type
Because
of role model do you think you can be to children based on how you present yourself?
her
Yeah,
fame and popularity thought that she earned that right to speak. That's what I'm trying to say.
but that's what I'm saying. Fame and popularity is one aspect of it, but now there's levels to it because, like, okay, if we're gonna pick a different black woman in music, we could pick like a
Megan Stallion.
hell no.
What she? I'm sure she could be invited to the White House before Carly. Sexy Red, sorry.
Nah, because I think Meg still, like, I feel like Meg is cleaning her image now.
You think so? I think
I
it's
think
getting worse.
no. I
She's
think
doing a whole lot more now.
I think Meg is in cleanup mode. The reason why, because she's showing skin, but she's like 2000 showing skin. She done got in shape.
She did.
It's sex appeal, not raunchiness. So
Yeah,
like
I agree.
once I see that, I'm like, all right, you can't you making that
Push
shit.
your
You're
button.
making that shit. And then even how she raps about what she's rapping about, it's like less on the section, like the joint she dropped with her and Glorilla, fire by the way. But
Yeah.
but
That is fine.
the verse, when I'm listening to the verse, I'm listening to, okay, how you coming on and how are you saying what you're saying, and even that is a little bit more covert. Not this is the same girl who
So,
came out saying, give me somebody with a Captain Hook, feel me?
well, I mean,
And now
that's what I'm saying. When she came out with WAP, did you get her? Did she earn your respect there?
it wasn't a matter of respect. I think if we're talking about the respect to go speak to children or be seen as like a
No, I'm just saying, like
superhero,
her being able to own her. Yeah,
like own her sex.
whatever identity that came from being who she was at that time when WAP came out.
I think because of what like when I'm looking at this from my perspective, Megan was already fired just off of what she was doing, but it was still like you're in that Trina bag. Feel me? So if I'm looking at you as Trina, I'm really looking at you as a sex symbol. Even though I know you can rap, I'm like the so like if I know I'm doing that, when the masses saw WAP, the first thing they were saying is, why the hell would we want our young people walking around saying wet ass pussy and blah 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 blah? Like just so even though a sexy red is the girl doing it now, the image has to get like it's allowing Meg to clean the image. Feel me?
Hmm.
Because now she's talking more about mental health and like now you're seeing certain things switch. Why? Because now if I get into this bag, people can start to take me a little bit more seriously. But because couldn't take you as serious because you pretty much a stripper with nice bars, like the
And
thought
a
process.
degree. Don't forget, she got a degree now.
Yeah, an educated stripper with bars.
Educated stripper.
but like in terms of taking it seriously, it's a difference. So like that's where it becomes where I say, okay, is she somebody that they're gonna put up as a pillar for female rap? The last pillar that female rap had was Nicki, and we saw how that went. So from that
She was
standpoint,
irresponsible on that. On that.
huh?
Yes, she was,
Don't do
Antoine.
that.
Don't do that
Don't do
now.
that,
Come on.
Don't do what? I
Antoine.
asked a
Antoine,
simple
don't do
question.
that.
That is all. I asked a simple question. Was she a
It
pillar?
was a shady question. You know exactly
That
what you
wasn't a
meant.
shady question.
You said, was she? Like she could never be thought of. Like
No, I asked, was she a pillar?
Yes.
And y'all just simply
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't.
Yeah.
because she is a pillar or was a pillar. You can't deny her.
How was she a pillar? Explain to
Uh-huh.
me how she was a pillar.
Okay,
Wow.
for
Okay.
you could say from 2008 to 2016, 17. If it wasn't Nicki Minaj, it wasn't a female rapper.
I don't think that makes her a pillar though.
So if you're running the rap game for over 12, 15 years, you're not the
By
pillar of rap.
yourself.
How are you running something if there's no competition?
She was running it when there
That's
was
just like
competition.
saying people. That's just like saying an organization runs the yard if there's no other organizations on the yard. You're not running anything.
But why is there no other competition?
She wasn't stepping on the
That doesn't mean
competition.
a person is running. That doesn't mean a
But
person is
okay,
running something because there's no other competition.
but even when
You're running something if you have competition and you're the best and on top.
okay, but
That's running something. You don't
her
win the Pulitzer
competition was locked
Prize
up.
of running something if you're the only person.
Yeah, but
She's
we can also say that as she was starting her run, the torch was passed to her.
yes.
The torch was passed to Nikki.
Who passed the torch to her?
What Remy passed it, Trina passed it.
Rep, yeah,
Anybody and then guess what? They came
Who passed it? Who
Remy
passed it?
Ma passed it, then came out
Trina,
and beef with her.
Foxy.
Like they all beef, like bro, and she didn't slump down to him. She did. The problem with Nikki is she did all the corny shit when she was almost at queen status. Feel me?
Yes.
She did all the corny shit right when people was just ready to sit the crown on
Put
her
the crown
head
on her.
and just let her bask in the glory of her. And then all the clown sucker shit started happening. Which
She let Cardi B get to her. That's what happened.
because the problem
She finally had some competition and she couldn't handle it.
nah
No, because
nah
Kim was checking her, but she ain't checking her enough to like take her off the throne because Kim was still like,
but
she still was
but
around.
I think the problem with that situation is like most women in any type of positions of power, to keep them curtailed, we're gonna have them butt heads because there's already that best competition. When we realistically know every generation is going to have their best, so trying to just be the best makes no sense because eventually a new generation is going to come out and it don't matter what
And
you done did, they'll salute you, but nigga, we got these new people, so get the fuck up out the way. So from
right.
that standpoint, if we finally have, you've been on this 12 to 15-year run, and in year 15 you was LeBron and we finally got Curry. Feel me? We finally got a Curry.
Hmm.
Y'all can go back and forth. Y'all can clash for the people and have it fun and exciting. But y'all was never supposed to get this deep. It was never supposed to do that. You supposed to be ready to pass the torch. The problem is when the competition came, I don't think Nikki didn't welcome it. I think Nikki wanted to be embraced in it, and wasn't not be from the females, but from the industry. The industry was
Yeah,
like, "Yo, we tired of you. The fuck on out of here." And
right.
and that,
She didn't want to be put out to
yeah, she
I
pasture.
was.
think she got karma
What do you mean she got karma?
because the same shit that she did to Little Kim when she came in the game is the same shit that happened to her when other female rappers started popping up.
You could say that. You could say that, but I think also at the same time to run something regardless of competition, to run something for that long and that consistent when nobody else has been able to rise through the rank to even question it. Yeah, you could say she got Little Kim, but at the same time, I don't think she deserved the Little Kim treatment. The same way I think she would look back and say, "Yo, I didn't have to do Lil Kim like that," because realistically, all of them was ready to pass the like. I think everybody is at a certain point is ready to be like, "Yo, here go the torch."
Right.
Like we have to give it to you, like because regardless of whether we like it or not, this fadeaway ain't working like that how it was before. Like it's gonna eventually break down. So and I think she's learned that kind of now, which is why you see her working with some of the other artists. I think it's a shame because whereas we get to have a Drake and a J. Cole on a record, or a Kendrick and a J. Cole on a record, or back then a Kendrick and a Drake on a record, imagine what music was robbed from by never having Nicki and Cardi on a record.
I mean, you did have them on a record, but it wasn't just them
I'm
on a
not
record.
talking about the record where they're there and they're both dissing each other. I'm talking about I'm talking about a real yo. Let's lock in. Let's get in the studio. Imagine if Nicki and a Cardi could have done like a Drake and a Future before the beef, a Drake and a Future like What a Time to Be Alive, but for the girls,
Right.
bruh. We're robbed because and we're robbed because I would say each generation still has their heroes. So each generation is still trying to do some of the things that worked for y'all, but don't work for us. Like,
But But I was going to say this is the one thing I know we didn't really give her credit for though. She may not have had competition from other females, but she was still holding her own with the other guys.
that don't matter
Because
though.
Monster, I mean, she cleared them.
But that
You
don't
know what I
that
mean?
don't
Yes,
that don't matter
she
though.
cleared them. Yes, I will give her her props.
So to
She
say that she
cleared
had
them
no
on Monster.
competition is kind of like it's faulty. Just because she didn't have any other female rappers to go against doesn't mean she was just rapping in her lane and there was nobody else. She was like, well, if no other female stepping up, she was going to step with the dudes, and she was holding her own.
Yeah, but I don't think people were really concerned about that. I think people would have been more concerned with her battling other female rappers versus her going against
Yeah,
other men
yeah.
rappers.
But
Like
what
if
did
you
it have
think
to be
if you
done?
think
Because
about it,
because
hold
because
on, hold on.
uh-huh.
If you think about it, right, throughout time, right, female rappers tend to rap better when they rap against other men versus when they have to go toe to toe in female competition, right? If you think about Little Kim's best tracks or best features, it was when she was rapping with other men. Just like when you think of Nicki Minaj, everybody's going to say her best verse is
Um,
Monster.
right.
But people don't really care about that because it's like, oh, okay, you're washing guys, fine, whatever. But what can you do against other females? What can you do against your
Yeah.
peers who are competing against you?
Because realistically, I don't think society has advanced far enough to really put a man and a woman against each other in any real capacity and accept if the woman wins as anything other than a fluke. So and maybe that's just our downfall, but I don't think we're ready for that. I don't really think we're ready for true female leadership. So like and then when you're talking about something that historically has always had a king like a hip hop, I mean, like, yeah, you had that great monster verse and everybody claps it up, but like nobody's championing, like people are championing that you held your own, but what you're really doing in that moment is holding your own for female rap, so that as a pillar, not holding your own against the men for real, because realistically, most people, well, I put Nicki higher than some of the guys, but I would say most people aren't really thinking of Nicki when they think of like dope rapper. Like it's always going to be an asterisk with the women. But when there's a lot of competition for the women, well, now you can say, well, look at the status of female rap, and then you have Nicki and Cardi and Glow and all these people. Where, hey, when you fighting against your own, well, now we can tier you and we can do this and we can do all the things we would do for the men. But when you are just with the men, it's like, yeah. And granted, maybe it shouldn't be like that, but I ain't about to fix the world.
But this ain't sports though, so it's not like we're talking about physical prowess or whatever or capability.
Mhm.
Like, why can't a female rapper be able to enter the rap beef? What if Nicki had jumped into? Uh,
Why can't a black man walk down the street with a hoodie on?
because society's
Why
dumb.
can't so we like, bro, like that's why society is not fucking with that shit. Like, I don't think, I told you, I do not think that we've advanced far enough for people to look at women in a strong capacity and accept it. I do. We ain't England, yo. This ain't the
I think
Queen. This is America. This is cornbread and lemonade, shotguns and AKs, America. Okay, you
patriarchal
feel me?
America,
Patriarchal America, racist America, sexist
racist, you know,
America. Like,
everything.
it's not. We not
Worse,
the, we're not
the
doing
price
it.
of
We would
freedom.
rather have two people who are closer to an old home duke it out than put any woman in that conversation. Why?
Yeah,
Because I don't think that we're honestly ready for it. And as progressive as my generation loves to say, I don't think our generation is ready for it. I
but why do you have to be ready for it? Why can't you just say today? I wake up today deciding to do different. I want to be the opposite. When is the opposite going to be the popular rather than the majority?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It broke up. You said, why can't you say today what?
Yeah, I said, why can't today I wake up and say I'm choosing to be opposite and different, and that becomes the majority instead of what was accepted or the norm? Like, why is it everybody look around, whatever? Because like, look how Diddy has fallen so fast. Diddy was the guy that everybody wanted to be affiliated, but the minute something went wrong, everybody, oh, I don't want to affiliate,
Yeah, but
and
would you agree that it's quicker to grow? I mean, it's quicker to fall than to grow.
yeah, I
So
agree.
then, from that standpoint, even if we know that this is a positive change, you damn right we about to kick this can down the road. Because realistically, nobody really truly wants to deal with it. Like, what our generation would have to deal with if we fully just pushed everything to the forefront of the best it could possibly be is exactly what we're dealing with now, an identity crisis. The pendulum realistically has to swing this way. We open up a couple things, we close up some stuff that we think was bad, and then it swings back the other way, and we get used to it. And then once we get used to it, we swing that joint back the other way, and then we open up some more things, and we look at what we messed up here, and we close that up, and then we swing it back that way, and we get used to it again. So like our generation can say, yeah, I grew up in a time where for at least the past 10 to 15 years, gay marriage was legalized, right? But at the same time,
Abortion was
yeah.
consideration
So
or
we could say, yeah, we're that progressive. But I could also say I also grew up in the most openly homophobic generation possible. Like, just from the standpoint of, at the very least, y'all had don't ask, don't tell. Like,
right.
now, you seen it where it's like, you can't even me biting the straw, and somebody gonna be like, "Hey, pause that, bro. What you doing?" Blah blah blah. Like, and even more so from Caribbean culture, like, it get even worse. So it's like the 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 things opening up and things changing is great, but in terms of being ready for it, we wasn't all the way there yet. We wasn't ready for a black president. We got it because it's like people wanted to shut us up.
You think so? I think at that point, like, and just circling back to what we originally were talking about with with the music, like we didn't ever see like a formal handing off of like a baton or whatever
Mhm.
in the race when Ella Cool J didn't just, hey, here's the next person,
Yeah, they did.
not really.
When the Kendrick came in, they did it on stage.
Yeah, Kendrick is that's what I'm saying. Y'all generation about the I need the acknowledgement. Back then, it just moved to DMX. You know what I mean? Like, or it moved to the next person. There was no like you just sat back because your time is done.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you still did your own thing in that lane to whatever fan base that you still have,
Hmm.
but then you finally dwindled out. But nobody ever said, okay, you're now the best.
Hmm.
Because back in our day, the best was you showed up to a rap beef, and that's what I'm saying. Like you just talking about stuff that matters, not who has plastic surgery or who whatever. Like it got that deep that people's mothers had to get involved and say, "Yo, cut the shit out." Like your mother got to come into a rap beef back in the day and say you going too far. Like that's, I mean, outside of course the opposite where physical, of course, two of our greatest rappers got killed because of stupid East Coast West Coast beef, but now, when you're in a safe space of not necessarily threatening anybody's physical, violent, or any types of act like that,
Hmm.
like now it's like what are we arguing about? Like what makes you legitimate? And I really want a space, especially for females. I'm a feminist. I'm always going to push female equity and equality. Especially when we talk about even sports too, we could talk about that. Could be our next topic next time about why Caitlyn only getting 300 some thousand for 4 years versus how much the NBA making, but that's a different topic. My point is this: I would hope that this discussion and this podcast can be able to be that catalyst for people to start having these discussions about why we just look the other way when it's things that we know are not right, but it's because it's always been done or whatever, and we just accept it.
No, I think we look the other way because realistically, like, if I'm not in the position to change shit, then I'm not in the position to survive ruffling the feathers. And like that I think that's the thing for the average person. It's like, bro, I got my job, I got this, I got that, I got family, I got all this other stuff that eventually is going to come at the forefront. Nigga, fuck that they can't, you know what I'm saying, do what they want to do or whatever. Like, now I can't do what I want to do. And I got these bills piling up. And most of the people who are who get the face of this have way more money, way more access to resources, whatever, so on and so forth. So for like, I think when it's not race, it's class, and when it's not class, it's yeah,
Sex.
like it's always gonna be some type of breakdown somewhere, and it's like we can move the needle, and we have moved the needle, but at the same time, the only way you're really gonna move the needle for real is by picking an identity, and it's like so now, like the reason why, and my previous point, what's happened now is, yes, we've let everybody in the room, but we let everybody in the room and everybody's talking. And what we have to do now is just pick who the pillars are. And trust me, they're gonna fuck up because all y'all pillars are fucking up. all y'all pillars
Look, this
all y'all pillars have lived long enough to start fucking up. Right. So and I think that's also the thing too, where it's like the problem is anytime our generation has finally got somebody, I'm gonna relate it to music. Anytime we've gotten somebody who can, like, who we're gonna hoist up as that person, we kill them. Or yeah, I'm gonna say we kill them because we either give them the drugs to kill themselves, or we put the bullets in the gun and kill them. So
right.
and that's on the male side. From the female side, it's like, yes, we're probably in the greatest time that we've ever been from the recognition of female rap, but and I say this with absolutely no disrespect, but I know the masses look at it like it's female rap, which is
Yeah.
not necessarily right, but it's like, but and then on top of that, from a cultural perspective, the rap the music side of things with like all the women winning and the guys not doing or not keeping up or keeping pace or like it is also a societal thing. So, and like realistically, I don't even think the women want that out of the society. I don't think women want dudes not keeping pace. I think they want to say, all right, hey, we bossed up. Now y'all supposed, if we bossed up and we got to where y'all have been, then y'all supposed to be on this level, not dropping down. We didn't tell you to drop down type shit. So from that standpoint, I think the women are looking for the guys to at least step their shit up back to what it was if they're not gonna get ahead. And I think the guys are looking at it like, bruh, pick somebody, bruh. Pick somebody that we can say this is the person, and then everybody else will fall in line. And you're gonna have the people who say, fuck that nigga, I want to be the person, and then they have their sprawlings at the top, and then each trickle down is gonna have that thing. But because you haven't picked the person across anything, it's always gonna be that. Like
But I still challenge you though to say, why do I need somebody else to do it? Why can't it be me? Why can I wake up this morning and say
even if
I'm going to
it's
be
me,
that?
I still gotta be picked. I don't get like even if I say it's me, like today I woke up and I say, "Yo, I'm that nigga." It's me. The people still gotta pick me. That's not on. Like I can say it all I want. If the people don't pick me, then you can't do it. What you gonna
Right,
do?
but if you move in a way that regardless if they pick you or not, I think you're going to get that respect regardless because they realize that you're not dependent on that pick me.
No, but the pick me is not about dependence. The pick me is about establishing the order. Like
It's also validation seeking,
like okay,
man.
I'll put it to you like this: when it was DMX, that's the biggest dog in the room. We don't care what anybody else say. That's the biggest dog in the room. When it was LeBron, that's the biggest dog in the room. We don't care that a KD comes along and strikes him down, or a Curry comes along and they go back and forth or whatever. It, because even though they're doing all that, and even though he loses, that's still the biggest dog in the room because he tatted on him. That's the chosen one, right? So then you move to the next generation because he's on his tail leg. So you move to the next generation and you have all these names. Who's the guy? Who's the next generation's? Y'all, there was Jordan, there's LeBron, there's Kobe, right? Everybody had their little sliver, some crossover,
Right?
but everybody, there was AI at a point, had a little sliver. Feel me?
Magic. There
Magic,
was a whole
Bird,
before
like
that.
even with Magic and Bird, East, West, bet. Here
Right.
are the guys. We picked one. You have to pick. Somebody has to get picked. And not only does somebody have to get picked, once you're picked, you can't take that crown off. You got to wear that.
But it's not they were good. That's what it was.
No,
They didn't have
no,
one
no,
pick them.
no.
They were
They were
good.
still picked. The people picked them. Yes, they were great.
Stats, the scores did not change. That's how we picked them.
No, because this didn't start when it got to the NBA. The rivalry only got worse when it got to NBA because now it was the whole East Coast West thing. They were
Nobody
battling in college.
nobody knew about Jordan before college. Nobody. But now we got people studying. We don't know if Carmelo's Cayenne gonna do something. We don't know if Bronny's gonna do something. It's like everybody's already starting like feeding on these like little
But we have
kids that we didn't even care about back in the
we have
day.
the hype train. I'm not talking about the hype train. I'm talking about okay. If we're saying a generation is 20 years and LeBron ran it for 20 years, right?
Mhm.
Who is the guy? Who's the baddest person in the NBA? Oh, that's the problem. Who's the baddest person in rap right now? When Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole are all because they hitting that point where they're now legacy acts now. Who's the guy? Who's the person that they're saying, yo, it's going right to this person. Where's the torch gonna go? We haven't picked that person. Where's the torch gonna go in hockey? And I'm only bringing up entertainment because that's the realm that I dwell in. But I feel like
Right.
it's across the board. Why do we have Trump and Biden? Because who the fuck
Pop,
is the guy? Who's the
right.
next people there? If we know realistically society is not ready for it to be a woman, then who the hell are we giving it to next? Pick
Anybody
one.
but.
Pick one. Pick somebody, and then you can establish order from there. Because if you pick somebody and you live with that choice for a second, you can be like, we thought he was the guy, and we gave him all the hype of the guy, right? But this nigga is Mufasa, not Simba. Get him out of here. We need Simba. Where's Sinbad? Oh, you Simba? Okay, boom. We gonna raise you up. Up, drop that nigga off the cliff. Not the person. Oh, we gonna raise you up. Up, drop him. But you have to pick somebody. And if you do not pick somebody, you're gonna constantly have this identity crisis. And that's where we're in now. It's an identity crisis. Who do because yes, people always say the oversaturation in the social media and this and the third and blah blah blah. But that's cap about we can't pick somebody because of oversaturation. No, you pick them and everybody will fall in line. You pick them. Okay, for instance,
That's
the
a
next it girl
responsibility.
has been picked. They picked Tyler.
Who's that?
They picked Tyler. The water girl. Let me swim. Let me
I don't
I know
believe
swim.
she is, but I wouldn't say she's the next it
They
girl.
picked her already.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It ain't they. I'm trying.
You think she gonna blow up like Rihanna?
They are, bro. They're already doing the Rihanna comparison. I've in the past week alone, I've seen at least 8 to 10 headlines talking about this generation's Rihanna, blah blah blah, blah. This generation's blah 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 blah. Now, granted, she hasn't. The time is gonna speak for itself in terms of is she actually it, but she's been picked already. So now, because you know who's coming next? You know who's coming next? Who's gonna be
Dude,
America's doll? You had Taylor Swift. She on the back. She with Travis Kelsey. They if they pop out with a kid, bro, it's over. We done. Yo,
over.
who's next? We
Oh,
need the
that
next.
whole image is
It's
gone.
you can't be America's doll. Like that's not how it's gonna work. So now like in all forms of, and like I said, I'm sticking from the standpoint of entertainment, but I feel like it mirrors the regular life of these things. Pick one. Pick somebody. Somebody has to be picked. And guess what? When they're picked, you know they're picked because they're championed like they're picked. They're champion like that. It don't matter that you got this, that, and the third going on and everything else like that. You weren't picked. So guess what? When that person dropped, we're stepping on that shit. When Taylor Swift dropped, move your date, nigga. You're getting stepped on. You do not appeal to 13-year-old white women. You're getting stepped on. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, what's supposed to happen is that you stick with your generation until they die. So, like a Diana Ross, the reason why she can still keep going is because her generation hasn't died off yet.
100%. But Diana Ross is Diana Ross is Diana Ross to that generation.
Right.
Taylor Swift is
Same like Beyonce.
okay.
Beyonce still have that same.
But Beyonce was able to Beyond okay. Beyonce is smart because Beyonce was able to kind of take that and then introduce the family behind that. Oh, my daughter's
Hmm.
on stage dancing. Now y'all get to watch her journey. Well, that's opening up the she's what 12, 13 in middle school or whatever. That's opening
Yep.
up the eyes of other young black women to say, hey, we can champion this. We feel like we grew up with this person. It's like Kiki Palmer. Yo, we feel like we
Yep.
grew up with this person. So now you having kids and everything else like that. There's just people who are just happy for you because you are a part of when I was trying to figure it out. And now look at you, you're a mom, you're this, you're that, so on and so forth. But you were picked. From Akila and the Bee to now, you were picked. You like at least in this community, you were picked. So like
Right.
from that standpoint, our generation has to do the same. And it doesn't matter who we pick, somebody has to be picked. Because even if we pick wrong, other people will sprout to the top because whoever doesn't agree is going to fight like hell to show you that we don't know who it is for real, but it ain't that person. And if they fight and if they kill the king, they become the king. But you have to pick somebody, and we have
But see, that's not pressure. Like I know, what's her name? Lauren had to step away because of that pressure, and that was back in the day. That was before social media. So you're now asking somebody to still take up this mantle with all this pressure and expectation, and still thrive.
why the hell are you here? Why are you here? Okay,
Our shoulders,
realistically, right? Realistically, without the pressure and without everything that comes with it, it's not gonna matter. And you're in it because you want it to matter. So therefore, now granted, like okay, like because you if it doesn't matter, you get what you have now, where nobody's been picked. So guess what? The new generations don't even really feel like looking at the NA League choppers because it's like, man, we, we had people who cared. Keep it moving. Now, granted, that's not to say he doesn't care about his craft. That's not to say that he's not in this entertainment world to be trying to be somewhat of the best. But that is to say, not if we not running him with a big L. We not running him with a Pac. We not running him with a Pac or a Biggie, or we not even running him with a 50 for real. Like even if we say we're gonna step down the ladder, there's still other people that we can say cared more. So
Right.
if you don't have that pressure to live up to a certain expectation, then there's no consequences. If there's no consequences, nobody cares. And that's where the identity crisis comes, because as much as people say, we'll be all right and there's enough for everybody, there is enough for everybody. But when there's the most for everybody, when niggas care about this shit. Because now they're gonna spend money on this shit. Now they're gonna come out,
Mm.
now they're gonna stop what they got going on in their real lives and give you an hour, give you 5 minutes, give you 10 minutes, not give you 15 seconds or even more so than that, 7 seconds and swipe up. Like
Right.
so the identity of it has to be able to not just capture, because realistically, the person doesn't just capture us of the generation. The person has to be able to say, yo, the OGs is like, yo, y'all got one. If you play it right, you got one. We're completely infatuated, like, yo, that we got, you know what I'm saying? We're hype, we're ready to stand and bleed for that person. And the youngest people was able to be inspired because they're looking up to us as their idols, and that's our idol.
Mm.
But we haven't picked nobody. And until we get to the point in society where we can feel comfortable with a woman leading that way, then we got to find a guy to pick across all realms.
Or a guy that will say, I hand it over to a woman.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
then even then
for sure,
it's gonna be,
for sure.
oh well, she didn't earn it, is
Yeah,
because
it's
he
because he
had it
handed to her, for sure. But I mean, shit. What's her name up in England? Did that joint?
too.
The queen. It got quote unquote handed it to her. She ain't give a fuck.
What do you mean?
What is it? Queen Elizabeth the third or whatever, whichever one just died.
The
The second, yeah,
second,
whatever her name is. I mean, she maybe
she got it from her dad. What do you mean she got it handed
all
to
right then.
her?
You was next in line.
Right. Right. She was next in line.
That,
But there was never a question. There were women leaders before, women rulers before
yeah,
her.
but I'm
So,
saying once again, I opened the premise by saying this ain't England.
oh,
This is
gotcha.
America.
This ain't England.
America. You know what I mean? This is America.
No
So we
goldfish.
have to
I don't know
we,
what they play over there.
because realistically, to be that person in America, you're also up against all the traits that we know make America America. If we do give it to a woman, well, now you always have to fight the sexism battle. Doesn't matter what you do.
But see, the thing in England, they don't pick their ruler; it's inherited. So inherited does not
It's
mean that
your
they're a far
birthright.
ahead of.
But the
Right, that's
but
what I'm saying. It's ahead of
but the
them.
present the precedent is still the same, because okay, okay, you could be the firstborn, but I don't really want that shit. I want to go lay up with my wife, have a couple kids. I don't want the pressure of being king. Fuck that. I'm moving to America. Fuck y'all. And y'all racist asses. Fuck y'all. So now, okay, well, oldest ain't want to do it. Hey, middle brother, what you got going on? And if we fuck around for too long, it's gonna be they're gonna have a kid, and now we gotta wait till the boy grow up, and now he like but somebody has to take it, because all they do is they lock it into your bloodline. So somebody gonna take this motherfucker. Whereas for us, it's like somebody has to be picked, but it's still the same president. We need a king, and yeah, we feel better when we just say, "Hey, we made you king," but we still need a king.
These are all hierarchical societies that we're talking
because
about,
because
and
because from the standpoint of what America is right now, that's what we are. We're a hierarchy. We're a patriarchy. We're a blender of sexism, racism, and classism. This is what we are. It's not. I don't. I don't.
so do we accept it? Do we try to change it?
I. You can't change anything until you understand who you are. You're not going to change it.
But it can be changed. It can be
Yeah,
changed.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
It
point.
can be, but if you never accept what you are, then even though you don't feel like it, you're still kicking the can down the road. And that's what we're like, because we haven't picked anybody, we're just kicking the can down the road collectively. Everybody gets a kick in, but this can is still fucking rolling instead of somebody saying, yo, we got to stop here and figure some shit out. And then the stuff we don't want to figure out, then we can kick that can down the road. But we got some shit we got to figure out before, you know what I'm saying? But we haven't done that yet. You know what I'm saying? So by the time we the OGs, it's gonna be treacherous out here. I was seeing a post that was talking about how our generation don't know how to host, like where the cookouts at, where to this, where to that. I can't relate. I be killing the cookouts, but for the most people who don't got a me in their life, like it's just
Because you're old
it's
soul.
just because it's lacking across the board, and it's lacking because I also think y'all generation did a little too much shitting on us, and we didn't want to listen after that.
I think no. I think this generation is still looking, seeking. Like again, I'll always go to this validation, and it stemmed from social media. So
Mm-hmm.
what I have seen is exclusive things because that's what the whole concept of like VIP and all this other stuff, getting a table. That's what all that came from.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you wanted to look like you're separate from, and you want to be put up on a pedestal. Whereas back in my day, we didn't give a shit if you VIP was for people who are real celebrities who got money, who dropping dollars, not somebody who can just afford
Three hundred
a
dollars.
bottle or whatever, $600. Yeah, that's not VIP. You can get that if you want to, but I've been to the private spaces of Dream and what do you call it, Love back in the day. I've been to the real VIP area. It's a whole nother back there. The club, people don't even know what's going on back there. Like, but that's my point is that I think there's too much reliance on validation of I have something that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And the faking on social media, taking a picture in front of a car that you don't even own or whatever you doing to fake the front that you got going on is what's happening. And so that's why nobody wants to be invited into personal spaces because then we get to really see if you got a house with no furniture or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Because back you got on your Gucci belt, all this stuff, but then you got an air mattress on the floor or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's all these things that are now have to come to reality once you start opening up your personal spaces. Or like I said, you trying to make this flex that I'm doing something that you can't be included.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody wants to feel like there's a community because back in the day, it didn't matter how many people came to your house. And then, well, I mean, there's people who respect the people's houses too. That's a whole nother topic. Um, but now today, I don't know who's raising these people who come in people's house and fuck up shit and think it's okay. Like that was never a cool thing. Like you get your ass beat and you never get invited again.
It's
So
because y'all took away consequences. Like
yeah, because it was like, oh my god, don't talk to them so hard. They didn't mean well. They were just drunk. No, get your ass
but
out.
but
You're gonna have to
but
sit
that's on y'all.
outside.
Like y'all, the way I look at it is the OGs got soft.
We did.
Like
I'm not
the
denying
OGs
that
got soft, and then
because
go ahead.
we we got soft because our parents and the people before us was just too strict on us. Like we were like, it ain't gotta be that serious. Like it's okay if two men like each other. Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's okay. It's all right. It's not the end of the world. It's not
Yeah, but
Armageddon
like
for anything. For women to run the world. It's okay for a woman to be a president. Like
okay, but getting to that point and softening up on that don't mean y'all should have softened up on consequences. Like it is okay for all that, but it ain't okay to talk shit and not get hit in the mouth. Like I
that's
know
what
what
I'm saying.
getting hit in the
Why
mouth
people
is like.
on Facebook. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the whole thing with the rap beef I was talking about. Like now it's okay for freedom of speech has gotten so
But
strong. Um,
y'all laxed up on that part of it too, like the consequence part of it.
But
Cause we got
I think
jobs.
people got I think so a couple of things, right? I think our generation laxed up on consequences because we became a generation that felt like what was done to us, we didn't necessarily need to do to our kids or peers or whoever because it was just over the top, right? And then we got into this whole therapy thing. And therapy is great, right? In its place. But sometimes therapy can take something that was done to you that was good for you and in a way make it seem like there is another way for you to get the same result and not have to do it to the extreme of how it was done for you.
or have the
So we
traumatic
started,
experience attached to it.
Yeah,
right.
bring
So
trauma
we
back,
started
yo.
having this mindset of, well, I don't have to knock my child in the mouth and knock his teeth out if he's getting sassy or talking back, or I don't have to hit my child with a switch or a belt if they are misbehaving, right? I can send them to timeout or say, don't do that. That is wrong. You're not supposed to do that.
Or
And
explain to them why they act when they ask the question why instead of because I said so.
exactly. And that is how the whole us take being lax on consequences took form, and now we get what we get.
Yeah, but it's like at the same time, like easing up on the harshness of the consequences don't mean that the consequences should go away, because like sometimes there ain't no other way to do it but that way. Like, and I know people, because like people are gonna bring up the therapy thing, but the way I look at therapy is, nigga, therapy works when I'm in therapy. Like, but that's 60 minutes at tops. Once you leave, bruh, you back to the real world. And guess what? The real world ain't that therapeutic, man. Like, just off the standpoint of existence, like chaos is what runs the world. The amount of things going on a day-to-day basis just to make this shit function is so out of our control that like there's no framework in which the most self-control that you could possibly have is really truly working. You just hope that you're operating the best for what you know in those moments. Great, cool, okay. But real life got real consequences. If you do something stupid and somebody go boom and smack you upside the head, you're not finna die. Now, it
That's
depends
the
on what they hit you with though.
that's what we left up to you guys. That's what we left up to you guys to realize as so consequences didn't go away. We were not going to talk or beat into you what consequences is, because consequences are still going to happen. So just like yourself, you had to learn how some consequences of some things that you did in your undergrad
Yeah,
years,
but
and it was certain things that we couldn't tell you. Like we couldn't punish you, we couldn't take it away, whatever. You had to learn those things that when you do these things, then you get suspended or
yeah.
whatever happens. You know what I mean? As a
But
result.
at the same time, after seeing those consequences, I was never the person to be like, "Damn, why that happened to me." Y'all was never gonna let that pass either. Y'all would look at me with that. Yeah, we tried to save you from this, but you wanted to feel, so you felt.
You have to
You know what I'm
learn.
saying? But at the same time, the way you guys would approach it is still how that feel.
So,
No, how that feel, because you knew with me you could do that. Whereas with others,
right.
you'd have to be like, well, you just have to understand that these things are gonna
I never
happen
understood.
when. So what I'm saying is, yeah, there's still that freedom that you have to give for somebody to create their own experiences, 100%. But I think the way you approach on having them redeem themselves from those experiences is still a part of consequences. And I would say our generation still look to y'all to do that as the OGs. Hey, bruh, I know you see me fucking up, and I'm not telling you to hold my hand through the fuck up. But when I come to you and I need some straightening, don't sugarcoat my straightening. I need some straightening. Feel me? But it's like the I feel like y'all were like, Man, I ain't talking to these niggas no more. I don't want to do this shit no more. Like, I don't know how our parents was coming to us giving us straightening, because y'all just don't listen. So on the, like y'all, and rightfully so, y'all might have got a little extremely fed up, but we need it. And like,
Here's the
mhm,
thing. Here's the thing. So we can't be. I'll never be comfortable in that space, accepting that I am somebody that some people look up to. I know it happens. I can't control it, but I'll never say, "Yeah." I wake up in the morning knowing 10 people are wondering about what I'm going to do, what I'm going to wear, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't ever get that comfortable. I think my generation was able to separate from the cycle of it always has to be this way, but separating from that cycle in this new space of wait, we could do anything now. Like that mystery had been kind of crippling to us because we didn't know what to do now with this freedom. Like, I mean, freedom of expression, freedom of everything. So when we see people behind us doing it, we like not almost jealous, but we're like, we look up to you guys now. So it's almost like a reverse role where because you don't have any barriers or limitations to who you are or what you want to identify or whatever you want to believe in, we're looking to y'all. So don't let us be that example because we're still tainted from the previous generation. We're not no longer like doing things the way they did, but we're still have a lot of those logic. And so that's why things like homophobia or whatever is still around because it was a thing that back in the day, like we didn't accept that. So now that you guys are so fluid or whatever it is that you want to, be identified as, like you guys are the inspiration. So that's what I'm saying. Like, why are you waiting for somebody else like us to be that upstanding individual when they could start
I
with
don't
you?
think we're waiting for y'all to be the upstanding individuals. I think we're waiting for y'all to be the OGs. And understand that
That's what I'm saying. The OGs are not good
the OG role is not about you
because
being good.
like both like
The OG, like
Boosie is an OG.
the way I look at it is like, okay, like the OGs are the degree of separation from the parents, right? Whereas like you got the parents, then you got your older cousins or your parents and your older brothers. Like the OGs is the one I can go to and really give the yo, this is exactly what it is. And you might tell me, well, shit, back in my day, it's a couple ways that we would do that you cannot do now. But there's
Right.
three, four different things that you can do that might help you in your situation. But that is what our generation needs because that's gonna help us craft the right identity. But because we don't
Mm-hmm.
have that aspect of it, it's like the degree of separation from your parents is not there. And I'm damn sure not going to my parents talking about outside. Like I'm just not that's just not I'm not doing that. Like so then all you can do is go to your peers, but your peers are also experiencing these things right there with you. So it's like, I mean, it's not the blind leading the blind, but it's definitely the impaired sight leading the impaired sight. So it's just not necessarily having that level of, hey, like, okay, well, we saw y'all leading, we saw y'all have y'all pillars, we saw y'all pick y'all people, we saw y'all maneuver and all this type of stuff. And even though the world doesn't work exactly the same way as it used to, there's still things in how this works that we know y'all know how to either get through, maneuver, finesse, like and help us get to that point where it's okay to one fail, but two figure it out. Feel me? And like you'll be all right when you figure it out, type shit. But you know,
So my message as we wrap up is again, don't let the millennials be your OG. Find that person amongst yourselves because you guys, this next generation, Gen Z, uh, you are already impressive enough that you are inspiring the older generations. We can be here as consultants, but we are still fractured in ourselves as a recovering generation that finally broke the cycle, the generational cycle. But we still didn't know what to do with that. We weren't responsible with that freedom, and so now, when there's a lack of space of freedom, then we kind of clamor to what we were accustomed to, like those habits, and those are not always good. So, we will always be here to support you in your decision. You already know what to do. We just need you to do it. That's what my charge is to that generation. Y'all talk a whole lot of. But when it's time to show up, like to vote again, like I need everybody to show up to these polls and make a difference. And Antoine, you got anything else before we got to wrap up?
No.
all good shit. I'm gonna say All the OGs who's supposed to be the OGs, stop feeling like you ain't fit enough. I don't care what y'all healing from. Be the OGs because y'all are needed. To my generation, shit. Keep sipping on that Don Julio and doing your motherfucking thing, pimping. You feel me?
That's the problem. Don Julio, you gotta grow to tequila. Y'all drinking tequila straight from the womb. Like that's the
Hey,
problem. You can't go 0 to 60
it
so
don't work
quick.
like
You gotta grow
that.
to
Keep
that.
sipping that Don Julio and doing your thing, pimping.
I wish I had Don Julio at that age. But anyway, on another note, this has been The Naked Truth, and we thank you so much for joining. Yeah, catch you on the next episode.
Let's get naked.
Let's get naked.
Thank you for listening to The Naked Truth. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms at The Naked Truth.